So I'm going to read out a few paragraphs of this article by Chris Sawick of Yahoo Sports. And this will give you a good idea what this Kawhi Leonard scandal with the Clippers is all about. So here it goes. The Los Angeles Clippers and owner Steve Ballmer are accused of paying star Kawhi Leonard $28 million for a no-show job as a way to circumvent the NBA salary cap, according to a report by Pablo Torre. Torre laid out the alleged scandal on his program, Pablo Torre Finds Out, on Wednesday. The show, which features plenty of direct quotes from legal documents, made the argument Leonard was paid $28 million through a company owned by Ballmer to essentially do nothing. Ballmer is accused of using the agreement as a way to pay Leonard more than his contract, which, if true, is a violation of NBA rules. The entire situation revolves around a now bankrupt company called Aspiration, a tree planting service funded by Ballmer. Aspiration entered a $28 million legal agreement with KL2 Aspire LLC, a company owned by Leonard. Let me see if I'm going to read anything else. So it does get interesting here. I'm going to read these two more paragraphs and I'm going to stop reading it. Torre attempted to find any evidence that Leonard ever marketed for or endorsed the company, but came up empty. A clause in one of the contract documents between Aspiration and KL2 Aspire LLC stated Leonard could decline to proceed with any action desired by the company, essentially giving Leonard the ability to get paid without doing anything. Another clause stated Leonard would only be paid if he remained a member of the Clippers. Payments from Aspiration to KL2 Aspire LLC were sent to Dennis Robertson, Leonard's advisor, who was investigated by the NBA in 2019 for asking for impermissible benefits. The NBA completed the investigation into Robertson, also known as Uncle Dennis, and found no evidence the Clippers granted illegal benefits to Leonard while pursuing him in free agency. So I'm just going to sum this up in a nutshell. Pablo Torre was able, through investigative journalism, find out that Ballmer had funded a company called Aspiration. It was a tree company of some sorts, some kind of environmental company that was about tree planting. So Aspirations was the name of the company. He funded that money, and then he was able to get Kawhi to be signed on to the company for $28 million. And what's even more embarrassing about this was that Kawhi didn't even have to do any endorsements for this company. He got a free $28 million for essentially doing nothing from a company that Ballmer owned. I did watch a clip of Pablo Torre in which he was able to find out how Kawhi was involved in this, essentially by looking at the LLCs that were part of this company, and he found one of them to be KL2 Aspire. And then once he looked up KL2 Aspire, he found Kawhi Leonard was the owner of the LLC, and he was able to trace everything back to Kawhi Leonard. So that was pretty amazing. So essentially, Kawhi got paid $28 million extra dollars to do nothing from Steve Ballmer, and that money was given towards his uncle, who helps run his LLC. As a Spurs fan, I have to say I'm not surprised by any of this. None of this shocks me. I've known about Uncle Dennis, unfortunately, since the Kawhi Leonard saga with the Spurs started out in I would say, fall of 2017. And I knew about him for a while, ever since then. Spurs fans, we had to deal with this scumbag for a whole entire year. We had to deal with his dirty, nasty tricks and just all the scandals that were involved in it. So we all know what Uncle Dennis is about. He is a scumbag. He is a rotten person. Obviously, Kawhi is not innocent of this. He's attached to the hip with this man. He blindly follows him and gives him carte blanca to do whatever he wants to do. Essentially, Kawhi enables him. 100% enables him. So he's guilty as charged by association with him since he's given him all the power. They are both douchebags. I'll never forget how they did the Spurs dirty during Kawhi's final year there by sitting him out on purpose, hiding him from the Spurs so they couldn't even be able to talk to him about the current situation, and then trying to force the Spurs to trade him to the Lakers, which was one of Uncle Dennis's preferences. Granted, you could say Kawhi wanted to go there too because he wanted to go home to California, but it was such a nasty way to limit the Spurs' options by saying like he only wants to be a Laker or a Clipper. But Lakers were the number one choice. They knew it and they pushed it hard. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. None of this surprised me. And then if you even go back to the Raptors situation, once he won a title with them, Uncle Dennis and Kawhi, they schemed to get to LA, whether it was the Lakers or the Clippers. And then there was a scandal where Uncle Dennis wanted, I think, equity of either the Lakers or the Clippers. I can't remember which one, but he wanted a good share of equity to see if it was possible. I think the Lakers shot him down, and obviously the Clippers, he didn't get any equity from them. But that shows you how scheming and brazen this guy is. And Kawhi is just a blindless enabler of this. He trusts this man 100% and he goes down with him. But Kawhi's also scummy because he's a grown adult. You know, at a certain age, you know better. So they're both rotten people. That's the thing. With Kawhi, you're always gonna have to deal with his uncle. This is why I don't miss Kawhi at all as a Spurs fan. I was very happy to get rid of him. The only thing frustrating about the situation for me was that Pop was dumb enough to trade him to the Raptors where he could win a title and build a platform that enabled him to do more of these scummy things for the next several years. Because keep in mind, Kawhi has been able to get away with his load management bullshit and his shady behavior simply because he was able to get that one championship from the Raptors, and the media turned the other way and gave him, basically permission to do whatever he wanted to, because they would always say like, well, look, he won that one title in Toronto. He knows what he's doing. We're just going to turn a blind eye to him and allow him to do whatever he wants to do. And we're good with this because, he's won before and we want him in LA. We got him LA. Granted, he's not a Laker, but he's still in one of the big markets. That's where he wanted him to be. So we're happy. We're satisfied. And some of you guys may ask, like, why would the media give him a pass of him being a Clipper and not being a Laker? Because, no one cares about the Clippers in LA. It's all about the Lakers. This is true. You would be right about it, but they would still give him a pass because he's in LA. And why does that matter that he's in LA? Because if his team ever does well, these media people, they like to be in big markets during the playoffs, especially during the conference finals, the NBA finals. So that satisfies them, because if the Clippers ever go on a big run, well, they're going to be in LA for the finals or conference finals. That's why they turn a blind eye when guys go to these big markets, even if it's not the premier team of these big markets, such as, the Lakers in LA or the Knicks in New York, and they go to like the B team, like such as the Clippers or the Nets. All that matters is they're in that big market. So that's why it is. Now, going back to the situation with the Clippers and what should be done. Well, the Clippers should be punished harshly. This should be up there with what David Stern did to the Timberwolves many years ago during the late 90s, in which he punished them for the illegal contract that they gave Joe Smith behind closed doors without the league knowing, by stripping them away of 5 draft picks. And I think the same should happen to the Clippers. Heck, I'm going to be even more cruel. Strip them away of 10 draft picks for like a fucking decade. They don't deserve that. Also, punish them for the next 5 years, that even when they have free cap space, they cannot sign a big-time free agent. Take away their ability to offer the max contract to any free agent out there. That should be a punishment right there. So they had to sign a bunch of fucking G League players and a bunch of scrubs to make up their cap space. They should be just cruelly punished. It's a horrible move what he did. They need to be cruelly punished, not just with the draft picks, but they need to be punished with the cap, because they try to circumvent it by doing this nonsense. If you don't punish them severely on both fronts, other teams will take that risk. They'll say like, I can risk losing 5 draft picks as long as I can get this guy, it'll be worth it. Let's say I can get like a LeBron or a Jokic type or whatever superstar caliber player. I can risk losing the draft picks to get this guy. I'll take that punishment, but you got to punish them with the cap punishment also. So that way everyone thinks twice before doing the Bush League move that Steve Ballmer, Kawhi, and Uncle Dennis did. So you have to go hard in on them, and we'll see what they do. Like Silver, I don't have much faith in him. He is a cuck. He's known for giving soft punishments. This will be a test to see what he does. The last harsh punishment I can recall him ever giving was to Donald Sterling when he said his racist slurs with the Clippers. So we'll see. We'll see how this turns out.